Hello and welcome to another episode of The Mixed Bag. Meg here, and I'm joined by Matt. How are you? What's going on?
Meg, doing good. Doing all right. We had it was a busy weekend. We had
Yes, it was.
locally, I played a little number of guests. I had, made my appearances at the Blueberry Farm.
You didn't just play to member guests. Also, did you notice I'm getting casual? I'm dropping the last names. Like people, I don't need to do a full name introduction anymore. I just kind of hope that's all right with you. I just went with that.
Matt and Meg, it's all right. If you're listening to the Mixed Bag and you hear my last name is Galloway, and this is Meg Atkins. This is your first time listening to us. Welcome.
Sorry, first-time listeners.
I was actually kind of surprised. I was talking to some folks out at Pelican when I was out there Wednesday and Sunday. So people were like, "What are you doing out here?" And I was like, "Oh, I have a podcast." They're like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, okay. So it's like, all right. So the news isn't all the way out there to everybody. So we might pick up some listeners this week.
We're still spreading the word.
The poor shuttle driver from the media lot.
Yeah. Let's lead with like the biggest news. You didn't just play in the member guest.
Rewon it. Me and my partner Kevin, good friend of mine Kevin, Old Memorial Man has a little fall member guest. Replayed and won the gross division. No scummy handicaps were involved. No, we're not winning in that division. Our handicaps are way too bad for us to do that. It's not just the first time we won it, Meg. We've won it 3 years in a row, so it's kind of like I think I might get hit with a membership application next time.
You might. That's okay. Toot your own horn. That's a three-peat. We take any three-peat we can get. That's amazing.
It's cool because if any of those have been to Old Memorial, they have a cool locker room where they have like all these boards all across the room with the winners of tournaments. So it's kind of cool to have your name up on the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. What a nice fall weekend of golf for you.
Yeah,
playing and viewing. Yeah, it was 75 here. I played 18 full holes. On Saturday.
18 holes in November, late November holes. I don't think you would have had that in the bingo card.
No, With my husband, that hasn't happened the entire year. Got like last minute sitter, last minute tee time. 75, like no breeze. A lot of leaves, a lot of kicking around some leaves, looking for balls, even when you're in the fairway. But it was fall golf. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah. Well, fall golf in Florida usually is the best too because it's not 1,000 degrees.
Correct. But there was another winner this week at the I'm going to say it one time. I'm going to say it all the way through one time. The Annika. Wait, I'm not even going to get it right. The Annika driven by Gamebridge. No, that's not right either.
No, that's right. That is right. That is right.
Okay.
That's right.
The Annika.
You had it.
I don't have it up on my computer, and it's so long. I've lost it. The Annika driven by Gamebridge at Pelican.
Yes.
I'm calling it TADBGAP from now on.
Yeah.
That's my.
What?
Everyone loves an acronym. It's TADBGAP for me. The Annika driven by Gamebridge at Pelican.
I just call it the Blueberry Farm Invitational.
That's better too. Linn Grant gets her second LPGA win. Wins by 3 over Jennifer Kupcho. Listen, we're gonna do a quick hitter up here at the top. We have Grant Boone joined us. This is today, Monday, November 17th. So he called all the action from Pelican. You were on site as well, Matthew. We get into all the details with Grant, as well as talk a little bit about this season finale we have coming up. So we're going to do some quick hitters here at the top, but then kind of take, a full look at the week and everything that happened from Kai Trump and Caitlin Clark all the way to Linn Grant and more with Grant. We've been wanting to have him on for a while. He was awesome as expected, but let's give Lynn her flowers. She's kind of been going through it, up and down season, just 2 wins in 2025. I think anybody, if you were looking back at 2022 or even before then, were really kind of watching her, you would not have think it would only be her second win this late into 2025. Yeah. But here we are. She had it firing in every sense of the word on all aspects of her game. Would have been a four-stroke win, but she 3-jacked the 18th. Could have done
terrible green. That green needs to be blown to smithereens. Not to detract from anything Lynn did this week. The 18th hole is terrible at this place. I've already disparaged the place last time we talked about the preview, but having watched it this week, they the first 2 days they played this back tee, and it was this absolute bloodbath. It was like average 4.5 strokes, easily the hardest hole in the golf course. And then they had to move the tee up to like 390 yards, where they have like flip wedges into this back right hole location. The greens basically, if anyone didn't watch it, greens split into like 3 greens basically with these ridges. And as water short, if you go long, like they have a net long of middle of the green. So like
there is
on the
there's
practice
a net?
rounds, on the practice round days, so all the balls go in the same area, so they don't have a bunch of divots.
Oh, sure, gotcha. Yeah.
And so they had to move the tee up, and it's just like a mid iron, short iron for some of these players into this back right hole location. It's just kind of, they have a tee at 475. They just need to make it a par 5. Done deal.
I mean, then it's par 71. Like that's fine.
Risk reward, crazy green, par 5. Yeah, let's have some fun.
I mean, moving the tees up, you saw it with Linn on 18. She just flew that bunker. I mean, she's one of the longer hitters, right? But like that's not even in play when the front tees are up for the long hitters. So
and easily get 8 or 9 iron back there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That
was my rant. I won't talk anymore about the golf course, but that was my rant.
For maybe being quite a stinky hole, we did get some drama on 18.
We sure did.
We're going to get into Linn and kind of where she's been, where she's going, like I said, with Grant. But we didn't really get we did a little bit, but with Grant. But like the drama on Sunday and who was hovering around 60th in the CME points to get to the finale this week was like, I don't think I've ever said this word this season for a broadcast, but it was riveting. Like this is one of the better afternoons of watching golf from my side of things on the couch.
The 2 hours we got to watch it on TV.
It was only 2 hours, but they were good. They were good. I don't know if we got too far into the details with Grant, but Brooke Matthews on the bubble, she gets
not Brooke Henderson, Andy Johnson, Brooke Matthews. Sorry, I had to call him out. I just got done listening to Shotgun to Start. I'm just like laughing.
I was too. They were talking about Skechers in a Lamborghini. I was like, no, wrong person.
Wrong girl. Sorry, Andy.
Brooke Matthews gets a hole-in-one on the 12th hole. That puts her
funnel pin too.
Funnel pin.
It was going to happen. I think I texted
there was a funnel pin.
There will be a hole-in-one. I said that's a funnel pin on 12.
She gets a Lamborghini 2-year lease. Rolling into Tiburon this week in the Lambo. And then she holes out from off the green for Eagle.
Eagle on 14,
Yeah, and there she's off to the races. Her parents are there. Like, you got all the emotion from her. Good post-round interview. You got to hear from her right after she got off 18 green. So that, when you can tell a story behind what's going on the golf course, always a plus. And they did that there with Brooke. And then you get Lucy Lee. She 3-jacks the 17th hole, needs a birdie on 18, and that's exactly what she goes out and does. But prior to 18, like we talk about it with Grant, she's going through the emotions. The broadcast showed like deep breaths, shaking her head, like visibly frustrated.
Slapping her leg. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's birdies the 18. Now she's in CME. And then Natalia Guseva must have been a terrible tee shot on 18 to have to lay up.
It's like, no, because like the way the hole, like when they move the damn tee up, like they squeeze you into like, you kind of have to go left as you're a longer player. And I don't know what the carry is off the top of my head. Like they kind of have to squeeze a little left, and she pulled it a little bit and probably just didn't have enough carry on it and stuck in this bunker.
Yeah. So she's not needing a whole lot. Now a hole out would have been safe with par or bogey even too. But she goes ahead and holes out from 109, 110 to get a nice little birdie just to give her a little bit of cushion there for the top 60. So
I think
that like was the action on TV. But anything, Matthew, that we didn't get into with Grant that you want to talk about from being on the ground?
No, it was just small stuff. It was kind of funny. I was going over to 12 early when I first got there to see some friends that were back on like the corporate chalets. And I ran into Angela Stanford. She was out there. And she goes like, oh, who are you going to go watch? What are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm going to go watch Brooke Matthews. And maybe like 45 minutes later, this hole-in-one happened. So it sounds like if you want to make a hole-in-one and have some luck come your way, have Angela Stanford come out and watch you.
That's awesome. Yeah, Some early scouting out there, huh?
Yeah. She was out there doing some work. She was a little decked out in all her Solheim Cup gear. It was just good to chat with her for a little bit.
She's awesome. Yeah.
Just the first thing I got on site, I got to say this. I texted you this. The first thing I get on site, I go over there to 12, and like, I wanted to see some shots on the 12 because I saw this funnel pin. I was like, maybe someone might make a hole in one. And I look, and I'm like, there's no one on the tee. Like, what's going on? I look over down 11. There's no one down 11. I'm like, look at this. Look at the pairing sheet. I'm like, oh, who's this group that has a hole in the front of them? Carlota, Saganda, hole in the half.
Shocking.
Sky is still blue. Carlota
clogging up the course.
Yeah, jamming it up. Other than that, the pace of play, other than that, seemed a little better than last year. It wasn't like 4 groups on the tee on 12 waiting this year. They did kind of a single tee, threesomes all off one tee on Sunday and Saturday and Sunday, which is nice. That was it. Kind of this, like, I showed up. The funny thing is, like, being on the site, like, I was watching Linn play, and it just felt Linn was just being so surgical and good. Mm-hmm. It seemed very anticlimactic. I actually couldn't watch the broadcast, and all this drama was going on. I really didn't know until I had Jeff Brighton tracking me down on 18, trying to figure out what the heck was going on with Natalia.
God, yeah, we get into that with Grant, but yeah, Jeff Brighton's formerly on Maya Stark's bag, was on her bag when she won the U.S. Women's Open. Now on Natalia Guseva, and he was looking at you.
He was going through it. He was
for the numbers on where she was. So
he thought I had the live CME projections, which I didn't have.
The emotions. I mean, clearly, obviously, emotions add to a broadcast and how you feel watching it at home. You saw that with Lucy. You saw that with Brooke Matthews, and then Lynn's not ever gonna get teary, I don't think, or like be super emotional. But this one meant a lot to her to kind of come out of the wilderness a bit, and it just made for a very pleasant Sunday of watching golf. And we'll take those when we get them, because there aren't too many of them like that with that much emotion. So
yeah, it was cool to walk the back nine with John, Lynn's dad, and her. Like, there's a lot of family there, Swedish family, and the coaches, and they were all. I was ready to have this like really cool celebration video of Linn making the putt to win, and like them all going nuts. They just like stood there like nothing happened. This is very Swedish. They're just kind of like a little fist pump, hugs all around. I was like, oh, that wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be.
Then it got even more Swedish when Annika joined her in her winner's press conference.
God, I mean, I know she's got her name on the tournament, but she sure as heck inserted herself in everything this week. She was in the Caitlin Clark press conference on Wednesday, jammed herself in there with Linn. I mean, I get they're country women and there's some similarities and yada, 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 but like, let Linn have her moment. Let her have her press conference and do the thing. It just, Annika has to, she wins. I don't know who was trying to get Thirst Bucket of the Week more, her or Justin Sheehan, but it was a pretty tight race.
There was a lot. There was some serious thirst. There was some serious thirst out there. Let's kick it to Grant, because we get into like I said, the early week stuff with Kai and Caitlin, and just what it means, what the LPGA can or maybe can't do with it, as well as his thoughts on the season and Linn and everything. So Grant's just a wealth of knowledge. Anybody who's a regular viewer of the LPGA knows he has all the facts and does a good job of getting stuff to the casual viewer, but I myself always kind of learn something or hear something new from him when I'm tuning in too. So Grant's a pro, and we enjoyed talking with him for sure. So let's go straight to Grant Boone. Welcome to the Mixed Bag, Grant Boone. Grant, we are thrilled to have you on. Been wanting to have you on for a bit throughout the season, and I'm glad it's happening now because we got a lot to talk about. We had a really fun, big week this past week at Pelican, and we got the season finale coming up. So let's start with Pelican. Linn Grant gets her win, her second win. Crazy, it's only her second win. But it was kind of the Linn of old. Just a few notes on kind of what you saw from calling the action with Linn Grant kind of putting it on cruise control there on Sunday.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on. I've really enjoyed listening to your podcast, and the more the merrier. We need more coverage of the LPGA Tour in every kind of way, and you all have done a great job. I would say with Linn, we even said this on the broadcast as she was on 18 about to win it. She's done everything except rack up wins. Not unlike Charlie. I mean, Charlie, has 3 LPGA titles, and you think, no, there's got to be more than that, but it's because she's in contention so much, and because when you look at Linn, you just think, holy moly, this is an absolute world #1 caliber kind of swing. But I think we did see on Thursday she had 32 putts, and that, she is kind of bottom 30 on tour in strokes gained putting. I'm still not 100% convinced that strokes gained is as good as it needs to be. I think that we're getting better with those numbers. But I do think it's a better metric than it was when it started 4 summers ago. And I think that is for Linn, like it is with a lot of great players. I think you could look at Rory and others. When they putt well, the way she hits it, she's going to be in contention. But when you look at this year, it's been really weird for Linn, because if you just take events in which there is a cut, she'll get T61 or whatever at BMW on the Asian swing. But for me, I look at what events actually have a 36-hole cut. And coming into the week, she had made 5 and missed 8. So of the 13, that's not a great percentage. And yet, when she has made the cut, she typically has at least been somewhere near the lead. It's feast or famine, as we say. And so when we saw this on with a 63 on Friday to really vault her into a share of the lead with Grace Kim, then she pulled away and had the one-shot lap, pulled away from Grace and had a one-shot lead on Jennifer. It was still just one shot going to the 9th hole on Sunday, and Linn had not made a bogey since the first hole on Friday, which was the 10th, but her first of the day. So she was on 35, 40. Well, she went bogey free from first hole Friday all the way until the 3-putt on Sunday, when it didn't matter, when she had it wrapped up. But there was a 2-shot swing. Jennifer hit it on the green, 3-putted. Linn hit it in there, birdied. All of a sudden it was 3 as they made the turn, and it never got less than 3 the rest of the way. Kupcho did make a birdie at 15 to get within 3, but it was you go back to her win in 2023 at the Dana Open. She had a 6-shot lead going into that Sunday.
Yeah, it was just like cruise control.
It really kind of was, and Allison Corpuz just with some great play. Jennifer's husband's boss, Allison Corpuz. It's yes. Linn with Jen. It's like they can't get away from each other one way or the other. But it really felt very similar to that. The only difference was it was a 6-shot lead when the round began, and she was never really threatened. Here, once we had that 3-shot swing at 9, this is how good Linn can be. Like if she goes on to win CME, no one will be surprised. If she putts well, she absolutely is the kind who can win in bunches.
You think she like her chances next week then, huh? It's just from what we saw this weekend, it seems like, right?
Yeah. And she really has talked a lot about trying to find her place on the LPGA Tour. She has Pontus, her boyfriend, on the bag now, has been for the last several months, and she just said, I want to go to places that I like. I want to play courses. She's got the luxury as a fully exempt player. She can pick her own schedule. She's like, I'm really going to really lock in on the places I like. She likes Pelican. I think she had a 5th and a 15th before this last week. Now she has a win. So I would see no reason why, you look at great ball strikers who've won. Gino's Gino's great at everything. But, look at Amy Yang won a couple of years ago at Tiburon. You look at Jin Young Ko, who maybe has had the best sustained ball striking over the course of a season or a tournament or a year. 60. I think that one year she had 63 straight greens in regulation. Remember that?
Yes.
Insane. Mm-hmm. So yeah, give me a great ball striker at Tiburon. One thing about Linn that we didn't get into, because it is a bit complicated, but here we have the forum to go into the weeds a little bit more. One of her greatest feats is keeping her LPGA card in 6 events. She was a Q School grad in 21. She was already over here. Remember, she'd gone to Arizona State.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in the middle of COVID. And not just, even when we came out of COVID, there were still countries that had different restrictions, rules on vaccinations. She wasn't vaccinated. So when she goes home to Sweden, she couldn't get back in the U.S. in 2022. And so she just played the LET. And because there were enough co-sanctioned events in Europe with Scotland and Evian, and then you go over and play some of the Asian events, she kept her card in 6 events, which was just nuts, and somehow stayed fully exempt, you know. In fact, I think she was in the Tour Championship and didn't play.
I think that's right.
I do recall, I kind of forgot about the whole thing.
And then when the rules were relaxed in May of 2023, she began coming over. She just missed the International Crown, which was early May in San Francisco, would have played for Sweden, but then came over and started playing at the end of May, and then she won in July there at Dana in Toledo. So that's one of my favorite little nuggets about Linn. Again, you get into some geopolitical stuff, and I don't really care about what country had what. I just think it was amazing that she got her card at the end of 2021. Maya didn't even get through Q School that year. Maya had to get her LPGA card by winning that co-sanctioned Northern Ireland event. But anyway, I thought that was an incredible. It speaks to how great Linn is. You know that she basically spots the tour. 25 events and still keeps her card.
I'm sure that the LET gals were ready to see her leave and go to the LPGA. Like, get out of here.
The men on the DP World Tour, they want her out. She won twice on that tour. Yeah.
That was kind of her big breakout, was when she won that event. It was kind of like her coming out party, and everyone was like, "Who is this girl?" Like, I've known about her for a while through her dad and knowing her dad for a bit, but it was kind of glad to see her break out that way. Yeah, I was walking with her all back nine.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I told this story, but my college coach at West Florida played with John at West Florida.
He played, UWF,
They played together.
Cool.
So I'd known about Linn for years. I remember he texted me when she qualified in like 2018 for the Women's Open saying, "Hey, my old teammate's daughter's there. Go say hi." And so I've got to know John. So I was walking with him on the back nine and kind of figuring out what's going on with Linn. And he's just like, he goes like this. I think she's finally kind of happy with where she is in life. Kind of just
she's a super compelling figure. She's got the look. Missy, her coach at Arizona State, is like, this young woman, holy moly, she is like so clutch. She just ultimate game face. She hits it miles, hits it beautifully. Justin Sheehan, the director of golf at Pelican, was like, I'm watching like peak Tiger here, and just watching this stripe show that she's putting on, just one after another, I think this is Linn. This is who she can be.
Yeah, that's what we all thought in 2022 and 2023. So it's kind of shocking there's a lull there.
I know it is.
Yeah,
and I just think women's golf is so much better and so much more compelling when Linn Grant is at the top of leaderboards.
Could not agree more.
Everyone talks about it factor. However you define it, Linn has it. I saw her for the first time in person and followed a lot of her at Erin Hills this year. And it's she draws you in with the swing, with the look, with all of it.
She does.
And then you add in the super competitive, the ball striking, all of it. She's got the whole package, and
could not agree
more. The LPGA
more.
in women's golf is so much better when she's up there.
Yeah, she's athletic. She's got like you've been around her. She is the most delightful person to talk to. But like between the ropes, there is a game face. And I'm telling you something. This last week wrapped up 25 years of calling the LPGA, calling golf on TV for me. And I go back to those first years. I was 7 when I started. But I'm kidding. I was 12. But I go back to those days, and it was the very first event I ever did was Hawaii in 2000. Annika and Kari went to a playoff. They were the two. But this is 6 years before the Rolex rankings came along, but everyone knew they were the two best players in the world.
Right.
Went overtime. Kari won a playoff, and here I am sitting next to Annika, interviewing her twice this week on the broadcast, and it all was coming full circle to me, and I just thought about Julie Inkster, Rosie Jones, Dottie Pepper, Beth Daniel, Kari, not so much Annika in her personality because she was a little more straightforward, but there were these players you felt like they would cut off a digit to win a tournament if that's what it would take. I've got
Meg
to win
types.
this. Yeah, and Meg would do it with a smile, but you don't. Meg, she was like absolutely locked in, and so I love this tour more now than I did then. But I do love it when you see the emotion come out. Lucy Lee, we were living and dying with every shot with Lucy on
you can
Sunday,
see it on her expression. She kind of looked like she was like, she was going through it.
Doesn't that draw you in as a viewer?
Yeah.
Doesn't that make you say, oh my gosh, she knows what's at stake? Now I get it. In May, you're not going to necessarily get that in Mexico, but you do want to see that. You want to see that, and I think it makes everyone a little more compelling when you realize what it means to them. I'm not just here, to cash a check or because it's my job. It's like I want to win this golf tournament.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just winning the golf tournament. We also had other compelling stories on Sunday. It was kind of like it got a little wild there with Lucy Lee, then Brooke Matthews, kind of her hole outs, and then where her position was, and then even finishing at the end there with the goose is loose.
The goose, yes.
Goose is loose.
The goose was loose, and at Pelican walked off, and I loved it because it's right there, and I've got all my scenarios that I've concocted, that I've kind of written down, and so and so needs It's always dependent on someone else too. I mean, when Hayden and Charlie, both had putts at 18, you realize it's not just they're both way inside the cut, but they could impact Lucy. And so when Lucy stood over the putt at 17 for birdie and it goes 6-7 feet by, I'm looking at this and I say on the broadcast, she's got to make this to stay inside the top 60, and she missed it. So now she's got to go to 18, which is this, brutal, little easier with the conditions on Sunday, but still tough.
Tee was up,
Tee was up, but it's still not the easiest hole. You got to hit it in that right, quadrant or whatever. So we were tracking it, and we knew that we had a bunch of things going on. So Kupcho had a chance to win the Aon. And as we've witnessed since this thing started in 2019, it actually started the year before Pelican. But what we've witnessed with Aon is players build a lead and they don't play Pelican.
Exactly,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe it's a coincidence. Probably not. And now here's where this is what I loved about it, because I don't care who wins it. I just want there to be drama. Gino did not play Toto, nor did she sign up for Pelican. She had the lead at the Aon going into Toto. Minjee moves ahead of her at Toto. Neither are committed to Pelican. And so for the first time that we've been doing this, there was no Aon in 2020, which was Pelican's first year. So starting in 2021, first of all, we've never seen a leader in the standings play Pelican, just like this year. But every year it's been so-and-so needs an albatross and an eagle.
Right.
If they're going to, you're like,
Something,
okay, this ain't happening. But we had two players, Alim Kim and Jennifer Kupcho, with reasonable chances. Each needed a birdie and an eagle. And then we said, okay, well, what if they both make birdie and an eagle? Then Alim had played 4 more holes than Jen, so she would just narrowly be ahead of Jen. Okay, well, what if, so we're doing all the scenarios. And sure enough, both make birdie on Thursday, like you do, because I love to party. So I'm doing all my scenarios here in my hotel room. And sure enough, Friday, Jen makes eagle. Okay, so now Jennifer leads the Aon standing. So Minjee and Gino both out. To which I always say, commit to Pelican. Just commit to it. If you don't want, if you've got a huge lead, you can always WD. But
I remember that early year in that, like Leanne Pace had a lead of Aon there at the end, and she was like, I remember the whole talk of Asia. She purposely I'm withdrawing from the event to kind of kind of try to take the lead. She didn't end up not winning, which is the best, and she didn't win.
Once Jen eagled on Friday and Alim didn't, now it's Jen, and now Alim would have to make eagle to retake the lead, and then I'm out there, with my iPhone, recording
this.
This
out there
just
covering the thing
to make sure. Holy cow! So she didn't eagle it on Saturday, Elim. Yeah, and then Jen, with an eagle, could have forced Elim to make an albatross Sunday. Well, Jen didn't. And so now we go to Sunday, and it comes down to this. I mean, these are like these hilarious, surreal moments that no one sees, but to me, I'm going to remember. Here's Jennifer's husband, Jay Monahan, on the bag for Allison Corpuz on 13T, which is about, I could throw a golf ball over there from the 14th.
Yep, it's right there.
He's looking back, he's mostly locked in on Allison. Why? She's going to hit it in the fairway every single time. I don't know why.
But an airplane in that fairway, too.
I was going to say, yeah, exactly. But he's over there. Alim hits a good second shot, and it's hole high. She's got about a 40-foot chip shot that, these are the best players in the world.
Very makeable.
It's very. This is not like, she's got to throw it way up or whatever. No, this was. It's still what, Matthew, a 1 in 50 kind of shot.
I think even less.
Maybe you could hit. You're probably going to hit it close. I don't know if you're going to make it more than whatever.
It's going to scare the hole in some capacity.
Yeah.
It's going to scare the Monahans, for sure.
Yeah.
And the Cupchos. So I'm over there, and she hits a good chip, but it hits it about 4 feet.
A little short,
and she knew exactly what she needed, and I loved that. Okay, so then that's settled. Well, now we knew that if Rio Takeda didn't win both Pelican and CME, that Miyu Yamashita was going to win the Rookie of the Year. So Rio didn't, and so that was settled. So there's 2 more things. So there's 2 things done. Now it comes down to who's in, who's out of CME. After 36 holes, there was no movement in either the top 60 or top 100, but after Saturday's third round, we did get some movement, and 3 players had moved in, and it was Guseva Matthews and Lucy Lee. But could they hold it? And then we get to 12. Charlie hits this great shot in there to about 3 or 4 feet. The Lamborghini's on the line. And then, sure enough, Brooke Matthews. This is a player who was a rookie in 2022. By the way, a really good junior player, college player, set all kinds of scoring records, 25 under, She was really good, but she was 151st in 2022, a rookie year, which means she had to go to second stage. She didn't get through, lost her card, goes to Epson, 23 and 24, 5th last year, led the tour in birdies and eagles and everything. Well, she led the world in hole-outs from off the green, and great shots from around the green. She aces 12. She told us afterwards her first ever ace in her life, not even in tournament.
So nice.
Crazy.
So crazy.
She gets the Lambo. We're freaking out. She's going to drive it down to Tiburon, or like this is. But then she still had 6 holes left.
Yes, that's the thing.
And then, sure enough, she pitches in at 14 for eagle. You're like, okay, this is meant to be. And then the amazing chip that didn't go in at 18 that could have gone anywhere, and instead it.
Did she have to get that up and down at 18 to stay?
No,
in 16?
No. She had a little wiggle room. She did.
I didn't know. I was curious about that, because that was a great up and down from where she was.
It was incredible. It was an incredible up and down. But so for her, you think on Saturday she was 9 under with 3 holes to go, par 70, and you think she plays these last 3 and 2 under. She shoots 59 at the tournament hosted by the only player to ever shoot 59, Annika Sorenstam. Instead, she doubled 16 and whatever. but she played great on the weekend. She's now to go from 151st and having to go to second stage. And then it came down to Lucy and Goosey, Lucy and Guseva, and Lucy 3-putted 17, but then birdied 18, knowing what she needed. And I mentioned that on the broadcast, but I just thought, here's a player who in May graduated from Penn with a double major in psychological sciences and data analytics. So she's got the numbers and the psyche just colliding here. And
I looked at the psyche went out the
window,
window, but
oh my gosh, it was just like, but all of the mental and the math and all of it, and she stood up there and then made the putt, which was not an easy putt.
Yeah.
No.
Delicate. And then Guseva did have some wiggle room. She had probably a couple of shots to play with, but to hold her third shot, I mean, it was just. So here we had what some would call a fairly certain Linn Grant win. Oh. 3 shots. It was never less than 3 the entire back 9. But to have all of those things happen like they did, it was one of my favorite days ever, really.
A little anecdote on Guseva. I'm walking with that last group, and so she hits that tee ball in the bunker, and Jeff Brighton runs over to me, and he's freaking out. He goes, "Hey, what do we need to make to get in?
Caddy,
what do we need to make to get in?" Yeah, Jeff Brighton. I had no idea because it doesn't project on the website. I don't really have the same insight that your whiteboard in the TV room has.
Yeah.
Well, you're a little busy. I don't think you're going to respond.
Multitasker.
And so I was like, Jeff, I don't know. I said, I think a 4 will be okay. Is I just kind of told him that. I was like, I don't really don't know, but I think
it's probably
okay.
best. I mean, think about Jeff and his summer. He has Maya at Erin Hills, where she's trying to get it around. She had a little wiggle room. Now he's got the Goose.
Well, he's never made it to CME. He wanted to make it to CME as a caddy. He's never caddied it before. He was really gaming on going to CME.
He's a good caddy.
He wanted that. He's great lad. I've known him for years. He's one of my better
great
friends.
Guy. Yeah, he's a good dude, good caddy.
You guys could tell stories for years, both of you.
He's got some good ones, but he won with Bronte at Kings Mill a few years ago. He's got some skins on the wall, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Maya played her best with him, and that the Goose, who had a good year, not a great year, but a good year, and then she gets to she connects with Jeff here the second half of the season, and off they go.
Her talent keeps on she keeps on showing some stuff every year, and it's be interesting how her career progresses. Guseva's.
You look at her, she looks. She's from a James Bond movie. I mean, she's got this striking look. She went to University of Miami. She's from Russia with love, and her boyfriend plays professional golf, and her family is well connected in the upper echelons of the Russian world and government, and. She had her college coach, Patty Rizzo, following her around, who won 4 times on the LPGA Tour, now has become, Patty told me, more like a mom to Natalia. She had her coach, Bryce Waller, there. He's at Central Florida. I was talking to him on Tuesday, of all things, and I just said how impressed, obviously, I am, like everybody is with Natalia. He says she's got that killer mentality. She's got all the weapons, full arsenal, and just is the kind of player that I don't think it's a matter of if, it's just when. I mean, she's 22. She does have some short game stuff that could get better, like just about everybody, with the exception maybe of Miyush Yamashita and Lydia Ko and a couple of others. But I think the Goose is going to be loose for a while.
Yeah, it feels like it's coming. Yeah. You did. It was kind of a collision course of Natalia and Brooke and Lucy, and then you had the Lynn show. And I from watching the broadcast from home, it was one of the more entertaining afternoons of TV of the year. It's. And then you bring in everything that happened before the tournament even started.
I felt like I was there. I felt like I was there a month. I mean, I am exhausted. Like I really feel like when did I move to Bel Air? I just feel like I've even got the shirt,
Yeah.
But I mean, it just a long week.
Long week. We'll touch on it real quick because it was kind of hit every news cycle and every place you can get news with Caitlin Clark and Kai Trump. You guys were both on the ground. Obviously, Matthew, you were there on Tuesday, correct? No, Wednesday. 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 There's been lots of chatter, lots of talk about who benefits the most. Is it Pelican? Is it the tournament? Is it the LPGA? Can they turn this attention into something that's more long term? Just interested in both of your guys' thoughts. Matthew, I thought you wrote a great piece for the newsletter, just talking about how it didn't really compare to anything you saw in your time out there. And just a reminder for any new listeners or people that don't know, Matthew caddied for Michelle Wee West, so he's seen crowds in his time. But just kind of your thoughts from the early part of the week and what it means or what it can mean for the LPGA.
Go ahead, Grant. I'm curious. I'll let you go first on this one.
Well, I said this on the broadcast. I've been doing this a long time, and the number of Wednesday Pro-Ams that we've televised are 2, last year and this year.
Yeah.
Through the years, we would do the occasional Wednesday check-in preview, but no, you don't do Pro-Am coverage. But you do when it's Caitlin Clark. And then this year they brought in 2 of her teammates. They brought in Carson
that was smart.
NASCAR driver. They brought Bryce Scurry, one of the greatest U.S. soccer players of all time. They really had a big, production. Really, it was not just. It was not just Caitlin. It would have been enough if it were Caitlin, like it was the year before. But watching, before we went on the air, just watching Kupcho go over there and get a picture taken, and she told me later, I was more nervous getting that picture than standing over a putt to win Chevron, or
they were all standing on 18th green waiting for them to sign the autographs. I saw Kupcho over there waiting for it.
I know, and before that there was Karis Davidson and Alexa Pano and others went over there. They got their pictures. Hey, do you mind? And then Caitlin couldn't have been more engaging. She's got a relationship with Gainbridge. She didn't just show up. They brought her in, Dan Towers of Gainbridge.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not. But we've all seen people who do their days for their sponsor, and maybe they're engaged and maybe they're not. Caitlin couldn't have been more engaged, and I think it's a testament to the kind of athlete she is. She realizes these are the very best players in the world in their sport, and she's incredibly competitive. Matthew, you saw, I know, how locked in she was. It was not hit and giggle.
She wasn't happy with the bad shots.
That's what I mean. And she did a pretty good job of not letting it sour her disposition.
Right. Yeah.
But she was not happy. And when she made that putt at 10 from off the green for par, that was like a legit fist pump, and everybody went nuts. And so I thought it was a great day. It's not the balm that will cure every ill with the LPGA, but I can't see what about that is anything other than good. It just gets a massive celebrity connected with the LPGA. Then on Friday, we had LeBron tweeting about Nelly shooting 63.
Random.
It's so random. I was like, it was great. And
the only thing I didn't get, Grant, is on 10, they had this basketball hoop set up. Why in the world were Caitlin Clark and these ladies not shooting basketballs? I don't understand what happened there.
Well, of course, I'm not seeing every single minute, so I didn't know if she did or didn't. I did see Kai Trump swish one, which was pretty good.
I was there for Kai. They were all shooting basketballs at Kai, and then when they made the turn, it was kind of like they waited for the TV to come back on air. It was kind of just wait for the production thing. Felt like I was back on a big break.
That was the moment maybe for Nelly to take a shot. Like, okay, Caitlin's on your turf. you give me a shot, or Lauren Wynn, who played the second nine.
I thought it would have been.
her.
I was standing on 10T waiting for some kind of basketball activation kind of thing, and it didn't happen. I was a little confused by that, but hey, it still worked overall. There was a lot of people there that I overheard in the gallery multiple times. I had never been on a golf course before. I was just here to see Caitlin Clark. Could have cared less.
There was a lot. I went out to Bel Air Market for a little cup of coffee. Shout out to Chris and the gang there. Best Cuban sandwich in Bel Air, which is only 2.5 square miles. So, but still,
this is an expensive shirt.
It fits great. But I'll say this. Plus, I've been working out. I don't know if you can tell, but But I was out walking to get coffee like 6:30, 6:45 on Wednesday morning. Coming the other way toward the club were Iowa Hawkeye jerseys. People wearing that. It was chilly, as you know, Matthew. That especially Tuesday, Wednesday morning, it was 40 degrees. And they're all bundled up. They got their Indiana Fever jerseys on. That's. You remember at Crown 2 years ago in San Francisco, they had the players wear the numbers, their names and numbers. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a great idea. We didn't see it this year in Korea. And maybe they did that because it was San Francisco near Steph Curry and the Warriors. I don't know. There's something about a jersey, though. It's like jersey sales. And Caitlin has blown that to smithereens, all kinds of records set for jerseys sold. And when you see it everywhere, Matthew, I heard a lot of the stories you did, people saying they'd never been to a golf tournament before, but they just wanted a glimpse of Caitlin. She really is a rock star.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of – I love the Wednesday scene. It's kind of I feel like other tournaments should maybe take some notes of how to do some kind of different – I've seen it in the past. I've been to other programs where celebrities show up and, there is some fervor around it, but it wasn't quite to that level. I've never seen it like that.
Yeah, well – and part of that is just Caitlin is so big. Yeah. But it was a good day. We were on for 3 hours. I mean, which, as you all noted in our podcast the other day, it was more than even our Saturday Sunday coverage on Golf Channel. We were 3 hours. There was someone streaming.
3 hours. If you know how to turn on the NBC Sports app.
We talked a lot about Kai Trump. I wrote about the exemption and everything in the newsletter. And
I read it. Yeah.
The 75 on Friday, I mean, incredible. I mean, she tied Hanako Shibuno. Hanako's a major winner. So, better than I think anybody expected. Bravo to Kai. I can't imagine being 18 in that arena and with the best in the world and firing a 75 on Friday. I think my takeaway after that is I'll be really surprised if she's not back with an exemption next year at Pelican. For the amount of coverage, for the amount of tension Pelican and the Doyles and everybody got from this, this is not the last time I think this is going to happen. Do you guys agree, or do you think?
I'll tell you this. I'm not ruling out her playing in the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions as a celebrity at this point. I mean,
perfect. Put her in that.
Perfect.
Put her in there. Yeah, that's great. That's the avenue she should play in. Put her in Wednesday
with Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know. He may not be allowed to be around kids that age.
But I mean, well, and she probably won't be wearing camouflage and a tank top. But I would say that I heard both of your podcasts from the previous couple of weeks, one when the news came out and then one previewing the last week. And Meg, I think you said, and correct me if I'm misquoting, the paraphrase was essentially, I'm not sure if it was a prediction or a concern, but it was something along the lines of, unless Nelly wins or something else dramatic happens, the story coming out of Pelican is going to be Kai. And I don't know if you agree with me or not. I don't think that is the story coming out of Pelican. I think it is Linn Grant. I think it's what Lucy did. It's what Guseva did. I think it's what Brooke Matthews did. Kai was a part of it, but the way she played on Friday with 4 birdies and shooting 75 after the 83, I followed her for a lot of the 83. It was not those greens are really funky, a lot of them, especially on the second. She played the front 9 second, so You get to like 6 where it's, got a saddle in the middle, and 2 is it's like playing hockey. The best in the world are going back and forth there. But to me, she was what a sponsor's invite often is. In fact, if you look at the 3, one's a recent college grad, one is a college player, one's a future college player. You can say whatever you want about why she's there. She definitely is there because of her name, and more importantly, because of her celebrity. Not every Trump has 6 million followers on TikTok. She has parlayed the name into a brand. She now has a clothing line. She's
got her own logo.
She's got her own logo. And so I said on the broadcast, this may be the best round of golf she's ever played in her life. If you look at her record, she hasn't played a lot of golf, competitive golf. It's not like she's got 8 years of competitive golf under her. She's only played a handful of competitive events, and not very well in terms of score, in terms of finish. To shoot 75, I think she matched 5 players and beat 1 on Friday. And the tournament people talked about the numbers of impressions and clicks and all the ways that we measure attention these days. The ratings still haven't come out for what we were. We actually, as you know, we had a decision to make at Golf Channel. How much do we show?
Sure.
If you show her a lot, then you're MAGA. If you don't show her at all, you're woke. It's like I thought the tee time Thursday was kind of perfect, and I was eager and lobbied for us to tee her off. She'll be even par. Here's where I came to on this whole thing. She's an 18, and I think I heard you all saying some of this as well. She's an 18-year-old young woman. She's in high school. She's a girl / young woman. She's in high school. Take everything out of it. I've got a daughter who's just a little older than Kai is. I want good for her as a human being. Like I just hope she plays her best, whatever her best is. I hope that for every player in the field. For Lauren Wynn, who had never played an LPGA event. For Ann Dindunnen, who had never played. Play your very best and see what that is. And so I thought she had a tee time, I believe it was 12:37-ish, and it was going to be a hole and a half, and she played 10 kind of the way, Matthew, that a lot of pros played it, missed the green, now a back hole location,
comfy
up
bogey.
And down, made bogey. We see her, I think the last thing we saw was her second shot to 11 that just dripped through the green, was on the back edge, and then we signed off. She shoots 83. But comes back, she makes a couple of birdies as we're signing on the air, coming on the air at 10 a.m., breakfast in Bel Air. And I know you love the tee times. I heard you the air times. But then at that point, she's a story because of how well she's playing. And it's an 18-year-old high school kid playing in a tournament. So I look at her appearance, and I think it did what they wanted it to do. She played a really good round of golf on Friday. Let's see where things go with her. She's going to go to Miami next year. Who knows? Maybe her best golf is ahead of her.
Yeah, it's only up, I think, but for her at least, golf-wise.
I think we were gifted a great finish with lots of storylines, and especially with Lynn, a recognizable name. I wonder if, though, for casual fans, people, Matthew, like the people that you saw on Wednesday that said, I've never been to a golf course, I'm here for Caitlin Clark, they'll remember they're getting to see Caitlin Clark. Others will remember getting to see Kai or reading about Kai or seeing it on their social media feeds. And for us, the three of us, I'll remember Lynn in Brooke Matthews' hole-in-one and Lucy Lee, heavy breathing and going through all the emotions. But I wonder, for larger golf fans, for casual fans, for people who don't tune in every week or are diehards like the three of us, if the story goes beyond Caitlin and Kai. And that's where you don't have to get into this. This is above my pay grade for sure. But is it empty calories, or is it something more substantial? And that's something that is up to Craig and the LPGA on how to make it more substantial and have it have some sticking power, if you will.
I'll say this
to
that point, and then Matthew, you follow up. Those people that you said who are only going to remember it for Caitlin and Kai, they wouldn't have been watching otherwise. And
Correct.
so maybe it is
Yeah.
empty calories, but they wouldn't have even engaged at all. If any of them did stick around for Sunday, they would have seen a hole-in-one for a Lamborghini, which doesn't happen very often. And they would have seen Guseva holding out at 18. And so I would say those were ones you weren't going to get anyway, and you got them at least for a day or 3 days, depending on who they were. And all you can hope for is that you get people. What do salespeople say? I've got to make 10 calls to get 3 callbacks to get 1 or something. There's some formula. You've got to get people to at least pay attention to the LPGA Tour. I do think there's a limit. For example, you're not going to give Caitlin a sponsor invite to play in the tournament, obviously, right? She's not on that level. Some question whether Kai was over that line as well. That was a big discussion. You all mentioned Presley, who played at Thornberry Creek years ago and really struggled. That was sentimental because she was part of the Oneida tribe.
Right.
But the point is, I feel like that people watched because of them, and if any of them stayed, then that's more than would have watched in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. That's all right. I wonder if like building a long-term substantial fan base and growing that is like, I just don't want to see other tournaments see this and be like, oh, I've got to do this too, and start like mucking up like the product of what the LPGA Tour is and how good these ladies are, and being able to showcase that. It turns into a bit of all these like the thing on Wednesday, absolutely awesome. I loved it. Caitlin Clark could play in every pro-am for all I care. Bring her on. I don't know if all those companies have that much money to do that, but so
more of the Wednesday, less of the Thursday, Friday.
Exactly. I mean, I think you can find different ways to do activations with these influencers off of the Thursday, Friday golf course to drive attention to the LPGA Tour. Let players go play on Kai Trump's TikTok channel. Let players go do that. That's fine by me. Let them grow the fan base that way, but don't muck up the actual competition of what the LPGA Tour is with that. I think that's kind of where maybe
she could get a TGL team.
Hey,
sure,
yeah,
do whatever.
Absolutely.
Trump Golf League.
Yeah,
perfect.
Sure. Not going there. No, we're gonna. All right.
But it is kind of and Beth Ann had in one of her pieces from the weekend a good kind of note of Craig's asking that question. Craig Kessler, new commissioner of the LPGA. How do we get this to be more long term for people to stick around? And I want to let's move to Craig because this coming week he'll have a press conference. We will get to see the 2026 calendar, the schedule for next year. What's kind of your opinion, Grant, of Kessler and how he's doing the first few months in? We've had a lot of kind of movements the past couple of weeks. The LPGA is now officially sanctioning a PIF Series event. We have a new Chief Sales and Partnerships Officer, so bringing in some different people. It feels like Craig's not afraid to make some big moves. There's moves going on, this chessboard, if you want to call it that. What's your opinion of the first few months in? And I guess like, what do you see as kind of the biggest challenge that he's got to figure out and face?
Yeah, he talks about routing, meaning how does our schedule flow? We can't be going here, then over here, then over here. The men's tours have that advantage. PGA Tour specifically, so many of the guys fly private. You know, it doesn't matter. It used to be like the tour, PGA Tour would always go Colonial, then the Nelson, because it was always right next to each other. Some years Houston might even be there. Nobody's slamming the trunk and driving 4 hours to Houston. They're getting on their PJ, But I think he talks about routing. So we're going to see this week when the schedule's released how well they are going to be able to do that in 2026. Everyone says, why does the LPGA, why does their schedule do that? In some cases, they're hamstrung. Everything's about leverage. And if you're the PGA Tour, you tell a tournament, usually you say when you're playing. And there's some collaboration, but generally speaking, because the Tour has leverage, they've got the longer history of success, they say when you're playing. When it comes to the LPGA Tour, in some cases, historically, you're trying to keep the tournament afloat. You need to find another sponsor and scrape together, the ability to get a sizable enough purse. That's been the history of the LPGA Tour. I can promise you that the previous commissioners weren't thinking, hey, it's great if we go to Asia twice in the middle of the year. Yes, sure, let's have 2 Asian swings. Yeah, let's go here, then over here. Then they're not thinking that's a great idea. They're kind of playing the hand that they're dealt. They're not in enough of a position of strength. And so that's what Craig ideally would love. It's what we all would like if we're having any kind of negotiation. You want to be negotiating from that position of strength. So, yes, I think what we're going to see is what we've had in, not this year, but in previous years, I think, unless something's changed since I've heard. You're going to see the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions last week of January, and then no more events, just off to the Asian swing after maybe a week off. Whereas last couple of years we've gone there to Bradenton, but that means Asian players, for example, probably who are exempt, probably don't come over to play Hilton Grand Vacation Tournament, which is fine because we've had how many first-time winners this year and 29 different winners. It's going to be a full field event, the Tournament of Champions, it feels like, the last couple of years. But so for Craig, routing is a big thing. Purses, obviously. I've actually talked to him about an event that we've been trying to put together here in Texas, and he's like, no more events that aren't at least $3 million purse. We're not doing any new events. Love that. And then the other thing is crowds. Ironically, some of the best crowds of the year every year at Evian. Where you think we're in the middle of nowhere, like on the coast of people drinking wine for lunch and chocolate croissants, and yet we wind up with this great scene around the 18th, and it's been worth it every year. It seems like it comes down to those last few moments, but. There were some, Matthew, I don't know what it felt like to you walking around. There were some good scenes, I thought. Not just with Caitlin and with Kai, but I thought there were some good scenes around 18 this week. What did you think, by the way?
Yeah, I think it's funny to me. Like, I kind of forget, having not been on the grounds at an actual tournament, like Nelly and Charlie draw a crowd. There was probably a bigger crowd watching Nelly than like the last group till like the last couple holes. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. I mean, the helpful part of how Pelican operates, it's you can cross over from hole to hole. You can kind of like that 12th hole is a big scene. Then you have 14 greens right behind it. You can kind of like catch groups as they go. It's not quite some of these courses that they play. That's kind of, you're in a neighborhood and you go out and play routing and you're stuck out there and you can't come back. So it's kind of a convenient thing in that perspective if you have a way to just camp out a spot and see different groups play different holes. That's the good part about the place. So I think
even if you're playing, you can go to other holes, like Brooke Matthews did. 18, I'll go to 10.
Yeah.
And then we'll get back to 18. I do think so the routing, the purses, the crowds, those are his big 3 things. I think he said that publicly, but he certainly said it to me. I think for Craig, you think he took over, 6 months ago. I don't think he could have done any better in terms of personal presentation. He's a winsome guy. Everyone who talks to him feels like, man, I like that guy. He's really engaging, and he's asking me questions. What can I do for you? Not just what can you do for me? I think as with anyone, no matter how winsome or engaging, charming they are, and he is all of those things, eventually there have to be results, and that's the way he's wired. So, and it's what he wants. He's expecting to deliver. So he very quickly he got the new event up in the new Fortinet event, which is going to be the Founders Cup. Yep. We just saw the news. It's not even been made official yet that Chevron's going to move courses. Yeah. That'll be made official here shortly. A new team putting the event on. That's also going to happen, and that may be just as important, actually, in my opinion, as the venue. But I'm looking at all that he's done already. Again, you bring in the Saudis, and that most people I talk to just have said. In fact, there is a woman who's an incredibly, I won't mention her name, just everyone would know her name if they heard it. She's incredibly important in the world of golf, and it's not Morgan Pressel, my colleague, but it's someone very high up in the world of golf. And she said, you don't have to like the Saudis, but if you're going to do business on a global scale, you have to talk to them. You don't necessarily have to do everything they want, but you can't not talk to them. You look at the places where the LPGA goes, and the human rights records of some of those places, and you can ask questions, I think important questions about those with whom you want to be associated. I do think in a place like China, when I think China, I don't maybe first think of who's the premier of the country. I think, oh, that's Ronnie Yin. That's where she's from. That's where Shan-Shan's from. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We know people from there. With the Saudis, we don't have any Saudi golfers, and so right. I think that adds an element of mystique, maybe not even in a good way. And then you think about some of the other things that have happened. It's a ticklish question, but this person with whom I have the ultimate respect for as a business person, she said you have to talk, and I think Craig talked, and this is probably not the end of it, I would imagine, either.
No,
this is
I agree.
The beginning.
The LPGA doesn't have the luxury to not pick up the phone or not answer the phone. So
you mentioned earlier they don't have the strength they don't have the strength to say no. So you kind of have to talk to them.
Leverage for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But CME is coming. We got the finale here kicking off in a few days. Grant would be remiss if we didn't talk about that a little bit too. We got a field of 60. We got a big ol' jumbo paycheck. Gino is defending. When you think of CME, do you think that in the coming, when we get to 2020, the schedule, do you think that there's opportunity for the end of the season to change a little bit, for there to be maybe a playoff series, for them to stretch out and maybe amplify this end of the season a little bit, instead of it kind of, oh, we're here, it's a big paycheck, but it's still just 4 days, and maybe we don't get the juice of the end of a season that you're used to in other sports?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, and I think when you look at what the PGA Tour has done, they fought football, they fought the NFL for a long time, and they finally said, okay, you win. And they shrank their schedule so that they could be done with the Tour Championship before football really began in earnest. The LPGA, again, they're trying to pick a date that they think is best for them, and so they go head-to-head with football. It is a time of year when you're not really paying as much attention to golf as you would otherwise. But I look at what Terry Duffy's done there and the way he's elevated those purses. He was really the one out in front when you consider prior to KPMG, prior to some of the others. And Stacy, of course, Stacy Lewis really was instrumental, as we all know, in bringing KPMG on board. And I think for all that Stacy did on the course, I think we're probably going to think about, I think Stacy's legacy probably is as much for really bringing in people like KPMG, but but they're on top of AIG and Peter Zaffino and Terry Duffy with CME Group, and you look at some of these other companies that have come along. It really is one person catching the vision and saying, I'm in. And it may not, for Terry Duffy, yield direct return of investment, the way that some of his other, entities do, but he sees intrinsic value. And I think we've all benefited from watching. I think last year when you see Gino go eagle birdie to win $4 million, to me, and this is why I think Craig says that purses and crowds are two of the three biggest things for him. So I would say, look at these things. Why has Premier League grown in popularity in the U.S.? I think some of it is access. You flip it on, and you see tens of thousands of people losing their ever-loving minds because of a match that's not even for the title. It's just it's early in the season, and you're like, I don't know what this is, but if that many people are going nuts over it, I need to pay attention. So crowds are important. Purses are important. We've lost a little bit of that in men's golf because of LIV and because of the outsized purses we see on the PGA Tour. I think it's important to remember that $1 million on the LPGA Tour is a boatload of money. Like I did this.
Yeah. It's like the Aon thing.
I'm telling you that Elim, Kim, and Jennifer Kupcho, they knew it. That was, they were, and Morgan, I think, made a really good observation as usual when she said Jennifer's performance. She made, I think, 3 birdies in her first 5 holes. It was almost like it could have been, it was, I'm sure, subconscious, but it almost coincided with finding out that Elim had not made eagle at 14 because word was filtering back, okay, Jen's got the $1 million, and how would any of us react if we knew he had $1 million? It's like
freeze you up.
Can tell you would think it would free you up, but it could also take some of that intensity away, like almost in terms of. She was trying. Obviously, she's trying to win the golf tournament. But my point is, that's $1 million, and I did this a couple of years ago. I tried to count up again. I love to party in my hotel room at night, so I'm counting up the number of 7-figure paychecks that have been handed out to LPGA players through the years, and until about 4 years ago, you could count them on 2 hands. 20 years ago, you talk about big outlier, the ADT Championship, Julieta Granada. She won $1 million, but no one had ever heard of such a, but that only lasted a couple of years. And we weren't, think about when KPMG took over the Women's PGA and some of the purses, even in majors a few years ago, it was, you might win 500,000 or 600,000, as you all remember. But the point is, $1 million is $1 million, and it just doesn't. Now it's only becoming slightly more common these days on the LPGA Tour. So that's why money still matters. This is life-changing kind of money. When Bailey Tardy finished 4th at Pebble Beach, it was like, what? Like Mina Haragai played on tour for 15 years. She won $1 million for 2nd at the U.S. Open in 2022. These are players who, in some cases, Carlota Segunda, when she won Aon in 2019, she made $969,000 in earnings in 2019 and $1 million for Aon. It was like these things matter. And so,
Amy
this
Yang's
week,
win.
Amy
Yang's
Yang
win. I mean that
2 years ago.
And it's not a direct correlation, but she wins the huge paycheck at CME. She's freed up in terms of sponsorships and being able to play and do what she wants with her, just being freed up. And what does she do the next year? She wins a major.
So there's no question. And so that's why, that to me is why this week will be compelling among the reasons. And you and I, the three of us were talking before we pressed record, Tour Championships, what's the best way to do it? And this really is the race to the CME Globe, and now all 60 players start from scratch. and anyone can win that $4 million. Now, historically, if memory serves, don't hold me to this, but I think Amy might have been the lowest in the rankings going into the week to win. It usually is one of those players who's higher up there, like Gino last year, like Jin Young, like Lydia in previous years. But if you're there, you got a shot.
Oh, yeah.
Padre,
that's the story. That's the story of the week.
She's got a couple of wins, and absolutely at number 60 she could. And Lucy Lee, who had the birdie 18 Sunday at Pelican, she could win She could win the $4 million.
I think it's better than the way it kind of used to be, where you have like this two-sided race. Like you have someone winning a tour championship, and then like the points thing's already decided before we even got there. It's like, oh, this is basically over. So it's kind of like, Or even for I remember there was one year Aria kind of already had the points things locked up, and it was kind of like a ceremonial thing her playing. But I kind of like it. It kind of adds some volatility to the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think, I think for the Hall of Fame, you get a point for, and I'm not a big fan of the points-based Hall of Fame, but if you're going to do it, you get a point for Player of the Year, you get a point for Vare Trophy. I think you could make a case that if you are number one in the race to the CME Globe, now some would say, well, that's the same thing as Player of the Year. It's close. But, whoever wins this week, they're going to say is the champion of the race to the CME Globe. But again, if they're 60th, they haven't had the best year. They had the best week that week, which all credit to them. But these are all kind of nitpicky things that people like us love to talk about on a podcast.
Right.
What else did you do on a podcast?
Yeah,
that's right.
I can't. It's wild. We're to the end of the season, end of the year.
I know.
Some cool moments, some wacky finishes, and a whole boatload of winners. Any like parting thoughts, Grant, on this season? What will you remember? Is there something under the radar or some sort of story that's going to stick with you from the season?
I'll give you a couple of under the radar, and then I'll give you, you start with the big one. Like, to me, Grace Kim, Evian.
Yeah.
I think it's the greatest finish, men's or women's, in the history of major championship golf, and the greatest since the last year at Evian when Annika birdies, plays the last five and 5 under and walks off with an eagle. We've had walk-off eagles to win the last two Evian championships, and for Grace, who is a young player who won very early. She won Lotte, I think it was her 5th start as a member, the LPGA Tour in 2023. But then in 2024, she had 2 great chances at the JM Eagle at Wilshire. Big lead going into the weekend, struggled Saturday, and then really struggled Sunday. And then 5-shot lead going into the final round at Meyer, lost a playoff to Lilia Vu. For her to come back and be so clutch, actually made a double, if I'm not mistaken. I think Grace made a double on the back. She did, made a double on the back 9 on Sunday at Evian to come back and play her last 6 holes in 7 under. That's one I'm going to remember. And Gino must be wondering, what do I have to do to win a major championship? I don't think Gino lost. I think Grace flat out won it. Then there were the surreal moments like Gino 4-putting the 72nd hole at Kroger, which she'll never do again. But then she comes right back and wins her next start, which was so typical Gino. She's an absolute delight. And when it comes to the other things, again, these are the things in the weeds that it's hard to even say it, if you know what I mean, on TV, because it's complicated. Things like the priority list, reshuffle. We all know what that means, but the average viewer there, what is reshuffle, and what does it mean to keep your card, and what's a card anyway? And we use these phrases all the time, but I think about Brianna Doe. So here's a player, in her mid-30s who went to UCLA. She was not a superstar at UCLA. She was good enough to be on the team and a good player, and she won a USGA title. She won the Old Public Links. She's got just this ultimate grind for the last 10, 12 years. And most years, she's not fully exempt. She has this kind of shred of status, and this year she began buried on the priority list. She was 400 and something and just so you think about the priority list, basically if you're top 100 on the money list, that's why, or points list, this was why we were watching the top 100, then you basically get into most events. If you're top 80, you're fully exempt. Top 100, you're getting into most of them. And if the difference between 101st and 100th is getting 2 starts, 3 starts maybe, versus basically playing a full schedule. Well, Bree, because she's been out there so long, she's Class A member, they call it a veteran. I would call it a veteran member. And so she gets into Mexico, which pretty much everyone got into because it was the week before the U.S. Open, and it was hard to get from Mexico up to Wisconsin. And she gets her first career top 10. Well, that then reshuffles her. Every 8 events, they say, how are you doing this year? And if you're way down here, you move up and you get into some more. She just kept playing well. She gets to the Pelican this week, 110th on the points list, needed something like 10th or 12th or something, and didn't quite do it, but finished, I think, 106th or so on the points list, which means she'll get to go to Q School, the finals at Q School, and even if she doesn't, she'll get into 3 or 4 more events next year. That's the little stuff, and just watching a player. Aline Crowder was 380th on the priority list, and Aline finished 100th on the points list because she just kept playing so well. She top 25 at the U.S. Open and some others. I love watching Nelly and Gino and Ronnie and Lydia and Charlie. I love it. I love watching players rise. I loved watching Lottie Woad go from the heartbreak of trying to win a second straight Anwa to then being the best player in the world for the month of July, winning once as an amateur on the LET, which was, by the way, one of the strongest LET fields of the year. Then almost winning Evian as a major, as an amateur, and then turning pro. And like Rose, we went 70 years with no one winning their pro debut. Now it's happened twice in the last 3. I think it's a testament to how good, how much better players are getting. Those are the things I enjoy. It's a little deeper in the weeds, but that to me is watching these players unheralded that most people don't know, watch them really play their hearts out,
Yeah, it's kind of, I know Brito well because I've been around the tour for so long. I know it. TK, so it's kind of like I was happy to see her have the year she had. So it's always kind of cool to see those. So I was always curious to see what's up your sleeve. You're always so insightful on Instagram with some of the facts and the isms and the puns on the goings of the tour. It's kind of fun to watch your very good reporting on what goes in week out every week of the tour.
Well, I appreciate it. And you all are doing a great job with your podcast. I really think it's not an issue of people not liking it. It's just people not seeing it, I think we, hopefully bigger and better things from here. I'm excited to be back next year with Versant, which is going to be USA Network, USA Sports. We're going to be covering the LPGA again next year, and NBC will have the majors, and now they're going to be 2 separate companies. But I just hope that the powers that be will make the kind of commitment that I think this tour deserves, because the players are amazing. And I think the LPGA needs to keep, finding ways internally to tighten things up. They can get better. We can get better in TV. All of us can do a better job. I think the players can do better. I think the players can be more engaged.
100%.
And it will take every bit of that for the LPGA to carve out its place in the sports complicated, crowded world. But I'm so grateful to be part of the team that we're on with Morgan and Tom and Karen and Kay Cockrell and Jim Gallagher Jr. and our traveling circus and others, Paige McKenzie and many others. I feel so fortunate to be a part of it, and I hope it's 25 more years.
It's crazy you've been doing that for 25 years. I don't think a lot of people really recognize that, which is, I was kind of curious to get a number on it, but I was I'm glad you put that up for us.
Yeah, it's a big one, Grant. Congrats.
Fortunate. I know. Yeah.
Congrats on the 25 years. It's
silver anniversary, silver tongued.
25 years for the puns. That's a long notebook.
It's a lot of puns.
The puns always intended. Just remember. And for all the ones that I don't say, that's what I should.
I can only imagine
I just want people
what's
to
going
know.
on in the brain.
I know.
Well,
we thank you for joining us. I could chat golf with you on and on and on, and it's.
Let's do it again sometime.
Hey, open fun. Door, Grant. Open door.
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One last quick one. You and Beth Ann had a podcast called the Big Pickle. You never revealed what the meaning of the Big Pickle was. Just open invitation here, right? If you want to let the world know, now's your chance. Let the podcast world know what the Big Pickle was.
I may just keep that one in the jar.
Oh,
just a little longer.
Oh God. Of course you.
All right. Understandable.
Hit me up privately. Yeah.
I respect that.
Take it.
All right, Grant.
In case we bring it back, in case it gets recalled.
Hey.
The Big Pickle.
Hey.
More the merrier.
Thank you so much, Grant. Enjoy the off season and some downtime.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about the next season before we know it. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate
it. Enjoy your time off.
All right. Thanks again to Grant Boone. And really, 25 years in the booth is an incredible feat. So congrats to him. Hope there's some time off and a break for him for the it's a longer-ish off season than the men, I guess. So hopefully he gets to enjoy the holidays and take a break. So
for those I don't know if they get to see any clips of this. Grant was filming this or recording from the Arlington Texas Rangers baseball stadium.
Yeah.
So all kinds of riffraff going on in the background. It was kind of funny to see him clue into us like straight from a baseball stadium of all places.
He joined us like, where are you? Definitely caught me off guard. Definitely caught me off guard. All right, we'll wrap up the week and look ahead to CME, but let's first talk about our sponsor today. It is Away. Away makes incredible luggage. That's just plain and simple. They do things right with their testing of their products. So every suitcase goes through 30 plus tests from the shell to the wheels to the zippers. They try and simulate real life travel, which, as you and I both know, is not gentle, and it's often roughest on the luggage. So they kind of go through the extreme conditions and elements that your suitcase will receive when it's out and about to make sure that it's going to stand up, that it's durable, that it's going to last. My favorite thing about my Away carry-on is the 360 spinner wheels. There's nothing worse, especially in like an older airport that's maybe still got some carpet that can slow you down. Nothing better than like having some smooth wheels that are going to keep you going and not, slow you down while you're trying to make a flight. I just know the carry-on is like from the first time I used it, I was like, I'm going to have this thing for a long time, right? Like
my wife's been using one. She's been a road warrior for a long time, has been using one since they started in 2016. The thing's still in one piece. It's just good. Everything about it's good and well made and well organized and well, thought out with some of the organizing bins inside. It's just a good bag, a good case of luggage.
Yes, it is. I've got the carry-on, but make sure to check out. They've expanded their stuff quite a bit, so they got plenty of options. The laundry bag, I have to say, real nice. Never really had. I always kind of just like stuffed it away and separate part of the suitcase at the end of the trip. But that's so nice when you get home to just have it in a bag and dump it into the washer and off you go. Like it's just the small little details like that they think of. Yep. It's water resistant too. So like keeping it separate from your other stuff, everything's TSA good to go. There's a TSA approved combination lock. That's easy to use. Everything's just a breeze. You can tell the details have all been thought out. So listen, we're about to hit some peak holiday travel days in the season of airport lines and parking lots and planes, trains, automobiles, all of it's here. So do yourself a favor, make something, one part of the trip easy. Go to awaytravel.com. And when you go to awaytravel.com, /fried egg, you get 10% off your first order. Do not forget to go add the slash in there, slash fried egg. You'll get 10% off your first order. That can take a nice piece off of the total there, and just know you'll be set for a long, long time when you pick up something from Away. So, Away, thank you, everyone. If you got some travel, if you've been needing to replace your 20-year-old suitcase that's going to be bumbling and have a wheel break down the aisle or down the whatever at the airport, do yourself a favor. Go to awaytravel.com/fried egg. Take 10% off your first order. Thank you, Away.
Yep.
All right. It was a news bonanza.
Yeah.
We have a lot to get to. I think I want to go first to something that kind of it's big news, but with everything going on kind of the early part of the week, kind of got buried a bit. We have a new venue for a major championship next year.
Yeah.
Chevron is moving to Memorial Park. No more. The club is closed. It's closed.
Oh,
it's a sad day for the club at Carlton Woods.
I feel like we exhausted our feelings about how we felt about Carlton Woods very well on that recap episode. Feel free to go back and listen to that one. I think we did mention the fact that they should move to a different golf course, Memorial Park being one of them. So very happy to see this news. I'm also kind of happy to see that IMG's not running it. I hate to say that out loud, too loud, but
I think that's like low key.
The best part,
an important part of this development. Yeah.
Well, it seems like it'll be an all encapsulated LPGA operation, kind of owning and running the event and trying to make it their own, which is a great opportunity for them to establish a brand for it and not let a bunch of, McKinsey employees try to figure out how to run a golf tournament.
Yeah. Memorial Park would have been my top choice for the Houston area.
Yeah.
I just thought it was going to be too logistically difficult to do it with the PGA event, but they're going to be about a month apart. And the most shocking thing too is that this is happening in 2026.
Yeah, I'm curious
5 months away.
Who pulled these strings and what happened, but
yeah,
it hasn't formally been announced. This is all from a Beth Ann Nichols article. She was working hard last week, busting news and tracking down Kai Trump.
Busy.
She was grinding away in the media center. I got to chat with her a good bit on Wednesday. She was ushering me around Pelican a good bit.
Nice.
So good on her to get that news and get it out there. And I'm curious to see. We're going to see the schedule. I think Wednesday. Next Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So hopefully that is official and correct and all good. My only concern with it is I really hope the PGA Tour doesn't let them oversee the crap out of that place again. And it probably will be.
I bet it will be.
Detractor. Yeah.
Yeah, which is too bad. But regardless, still an upgrade.
Yeah, but the only problem is, are they going to jump in something? What are they going to do? There's no pond on 18.
It should have just been retired when they left Mission Hills. So let that live in California. It never needed to be brought to Texas.
I think you just got to get a big old fat blue kiddie pool and pump that thing up and let them jump in it. Do some wild stuff.
Miyu Yamashita would be happy with that because if she can stand, there's no risk of drowning.
Yeah, there's that.
She almost
and then she's also a very tiny human.
Yes. I reached out to our friend Justin Ray, said scale of 1 to 10, how excited. He said 15. Now just get out and promote it, which, listen, this is a huge leap forward. You still got to do some work to get people there. I don't know what the cause, how this got done so quickly. I texted Tron from NLU and said, thank you for your service for his efforts. Early days of calling out Carlton Woods for not being major worthy. So great news. Great news.
That was very surprising and very happy to hear it.
Here's a sentence I didn't think I would say, but I'm excited for 2026 Chevron.
I mean, yes, as much as, yes, exactly.
Let's go to other developments. Craig Kessler is bringing in some new blood into the LPGA. Mm-hmm. We have Monica Fee has been hired as Chief Sales and Partnerships Officer. She kind of has a history. Well, last was at Live, kind of doing a similar role. I think it's interesting. Like we talked last week about the PIF development, sanctioning a PIF event. You got Monica Fee, who had links to Live. Like asked Grant, and then you just listened to the interview. Like I asked, like feels like some chess moves, some pieces being moved around the board. But this is also kind of not unexpected. Like we knew Craig would be bringing in new people and kind of get some fresh perspectives and new energy in there. So I don't know. What do you think about Monica Fee?
I don't know anything about her. I saw she was out there on Wednesday with Craig, kind of walking up 18 while Caitlin was finishing up. I didn't get to introduce myself. They seemed very enthroned in a deep conversation. I didn't want to go interjecting myself into that. But she was there. They were working. I also talked to Karen Stupples about it Wednesday because obviously her longtime partner Jerry is very deep into that live ecosystem, and he said nothing but great things. Jerry's very supportive of what Monica did. She was kind of, seems like from what Karen said, was kind of hamstrung by a little bit of kind of like obviously the powers that be that run live and the Saudi folks, but hopefully that gives her opportunity to get out and run and to establish some cool things. So
yeah, that's good to hear. Look at you on the boots on the ground reporting, getting comments, getting quotes.
Yeah, I was I got made fun of by a lot of caddies walking around my giant media inside the ropes badge, but it was fun seeing the fellas.
Yeah, you got to do some catching up with the guys too.
Yeah, ran a little Wednesday caddy happy hour, which is nice, catching up with some of the boys. Got some fun stories were told that I cannot share on this podcast.
I would expect nothing less. Yeah. Let's go. Okay, more just kind of developments from the LPGA. They have some board members moving around. Some names that, like, if you're really in the weeds, John Viemeyer, his kind of time on the board is up and over. They got some new, from different corporations, from other boards, just this stakeholders and whatnot coming in. But I thought the player movements were interesting. You have Lindy Duncan and LC, Lauren Coughlin, coming in to roles as player board members. Two great people. We've interviewed both of them on this podcast, and they're two of my favorite interviews from the year. I think they'll
well thought out people. Yeah, Lindy's obviously
do that
very
job
smart
very well. Yeah,
and well thought out. Interesting with this guy in the board part of things. Sean R.H. Bratches was kind of like this ESPN director of operations for Formula One, first chief commercial officer for Live. So there's some other Live tie-ins. I'm wondering how all this is starting to align with this as Craig kind of like trying to position some chess pieces that are involved in Live to kind of know how they handle the Saudis if they're trying to make some different partnership play with the LPGA or not. So we're kind of curious to see how this all aligns.
There's some tea leaves to be read. It feels like a little bit with what's going on. So that's most of the news. Good girls.
Yeah,
is now a thing. I think that this is great. I don't really consume good content regularly.
Nor do I.
But they're following in what they have done, and they're freaking hosting a PGA event next year. Like it's only a positive in my book. I don't really see any downside to this, and I think good for getting the ladies involved, right?
Yeah, I think it seems like I kind of saw some of this ladies' YouTube content firing up these different relative groups. I don't partake in watching most of it, but I just kind of keep an eye on kind of trends and how things are moving. I think it's an opportunity for players to maybe cross promote themselves outside of tournaments and going and participating in some of this stuff. I know some of these agents are probably salivating at their lips to get them, some cross branding things done, and hopefully it kind of seems like looking at last week and looking at this whole attention economy and trying to, get influencers or get influence and attract attention to LPGA events and players. This is only a good opportunity. God, this stupid good pun, good opportunity.
You just got to lean into it.
Yeah, sure. Buy a hat. It seems like a unique a way to kind of develop and foster more fans towards LPGA and LPGA players by kind of just finding a way to align. I'm not saying invite all these good girls to play in events. Go play on their channels. Get out that way. I feel like they've got to go the opposite way of inviting people. I mean, invite them to the tournaments, invite them to the pro-ams. Funny thing about good. I saw Bubby was at Pelican this week? One of the good guys was out there walking around.
He was. He posted
that was
a little bit
odd
about
to
it.
me. I was like, what is he doing out here? So yeah, I just think it's a unique opportunity. I see kind of a way to kind of help another channel or a way to distribute promoting the LPGA and its players and other things like that.
I think you've seen like Lydia did a play around with Luke Kwan, I believe, and Nelly just did it with Grant Horvat. So
awesome.
Like, the gals are open to this, and then I think it's kind of even cooler if you bring the good girls into it and do something fun. Like this is something I think that if you've seen Nelly and Lydia do it and you're a player on the LPGA, that maybe makes jumping into something like that a little bit easier, like they've done it. And if you're the good girls, you know that the players are open to it if they're already doing it on other people's channels. So I wouldn't be surprised if something bubbles up and develops here soon. So
totally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not deep into the influencer weeds, but happy to see that come up. Happy to see them put their power and their following into an avenue for the gals. So we'll take it for sure. Some tidying up things that we didn't get to with Grant from the Annika. So this is end of season awards are going to be coming at you. Miyu Yamashita is your rookie of the year. I think if like Gino wouldn't have won, it could have been pretty close for her to take like player of the year and rookie of the year, which hasn't been done since Nancy Lopez.
Yamashita has to win CME. I think she still has a chance.
Does she really?
Did I hear that?
Okay.
I think.
Maybe so.
Could be wrong.
It's hard.
Very well.
There's too many awards. It's too hard to keep track of. Too many awards. Too many moving parts.
We have a Aeon Risk Reward Challenge winner, which I didn't realize was ending this week until Grant was posting a lot about it, which is shout out to Grant. I thought it ended after CME, but it makes sense because there's only 60 players. But we now have Jennifer Kupcho won, as us and Grant talked about, $1 million, which is a lot of money for an LPGA player. It means a lot. Awesome.
It's pretty wild that her husband, Jay Monahan, was like monitoring it while caddying in a final round for Allison Corpuz.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
For sure.
But
$1 million means a lot.
I thought that was a good little nugget from Grant that he was closely eyeing what was going on. So, and then Charlie just continues to be the best after her 63 on Sunday. T4 finish after arriving, I think, late Tuesday. She was delayed out of England. And
withdrew of the program on Wednesday.
Yeah, feeling sick on Wednesday. No practice round. Didn't see the course. T4. She celebrates like a true American. Raisin Canes and Dunkin' Donuts. She posted on her Instagram.
That was funny. I'm sure, like, because everyone just kind of drives down that 2.5 hour drive down to Naples on like Sunday night when they can. And poor ads is probably driving the car, or she was just housing some Raisin Canes and Dunkin' Donuts.
Jam filled. Yeah, apparently is where Charlie likes her donuts. So
that's the content we need in our lives.
Truly.
Yeah.
God, I don't know if that's everything because there sure was a lot, but that's I think kind of wraps up the week. But we got the season wrapping up with CME Group Tour Championship. Man, oh man, take us there for the last time this season, Matthew.
We are going to the CME Group Tour Championship at the one and only Tiburon Golf Club in Naples, Florida. This is the Gold Course. There are 2 courses there. We're playing the Gold Course. Absolutely, as you know, you could probably buy a time on the Black Course, which is off very close to the Gold Course. And you can see, it's very funny when you're out there playing this tournament and you see people playing the other golf course like across the lake. You're like, oh, that's interesting. It's been talked about on Shotgun Start before, if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about.
I was like, I've heard about that before.
Yeah. So we're architect Greg Norman, built in 1998. Kind of a funky golf course. You got a lot of fake riveted faces, bunkers, all that synthetic fake stuff in the faces, which can cause some havoc. It used to be, they softened most of them. It used to be really bad. There's a couple of holes, like the 9th hole, if you missed the green to the left, like you were just stuck up against the face. I caddied for Ryan O'Toole there.
So they just go like straight down?
Straight down, you can't get it out. You gotta it's Scotland. You gotta play it out sideways or try to go for it or you're screwed.
Scotland in Naples.
Exactly. Sunny Naples. Fun. I remember caddying for Ryan on that 9th hole. We were playing pretty well that week, and she made like a solid 8 on that hole. Just trying to keep the same shot. I'm like, just chit out sideways, dude.
Brutal.
All right, sideways. Yardage 65.90, par 72. Run of the mill yardage, nothing really there yardage wise. Purse is $11 million. Meg, big money for all 60 players there. Most notably, $4 million. Is it $4 million going to the winner? Correct?
Yeah.
Do I have that right?
Yeah. Okay. As far at this point, yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
Maybe Terry Duffy may find a few extra $1,000 bills in his laundry
CME
and
Globe.
throw those in there. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, $4 million to the winner. That's kind of been ratcheting up. Kind of the big news always is kind of, $4 million winner for an LPGA Tour event is like life-changing money.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And so we actually got some good TV this week, Meg. Thursday through Friday, we got 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern on Golf Channel. Saturday, we shift over 2 to 5 on CNBC, and Sunday 1 to 4 on Big Boy NBC. I think there's some extra streaming coverage. I don't know. I can't remember. There's a lot of different links on the webpage, but that's mostly your live, actual non-opening app TV coverage.
Great. Love 3 hours on network TV. That's great.
That's
Great.
perfect. Defending champion Gino Titiku shot 24 under last year. Kind of just it was kind of her and Angel Yen having a absolute knockdown, drag out eagle birdie fest, which is really fun to watch. I hope that can get reignited this year with whoever's playing. Mm-hmm. Well, you could do it out there. It's kind of a cool finish. You have 17s, a reachable par 5. Usually kind of comes down to who can birdie 17 and maybe get it across the line on 18. So that's kind of it's a good finish. It's basically 60 players. We saw the drama last week of people trying to get in. This is what they're playing for. That's why I meant so much of those ladies last week trying to get in.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Just dwarfs any other purse and payout that you'll receive. It's $11 million is just under the U.S. Women's Open, and there's double the players in the U.S. Women's Open. So
it used to be very small. It used to be so top heavy. Like the winner won all the money, and then the paying out the rest of the ladies playing kind of wasn't that substantial. But now it's turned into actually just a very big purse for all 60 players, and it's good to see that. And like Grant said when we talked to him, shout out to Terry Duffy being the original visionary and doing this whole thing and kind of continuing to stand up and be there for the LPGA when he sees a vision and does it, even when the players don't come to their fancy CME dinner with that couple years ago that happened.
Lord, that's a mess. That was a mess. I hope. Look. There's going to be a lot of news, like we've mentioned.
Some big
Craig
news
will
this
be
week.
giving a press conference. We'll have the calendar. Hopefully, there's no faux pas or issues, and it's smooth sailing because there's certainly some momentum. There's certainly some exciting developments going on.
I think we might get some news tomorrow about something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just that time of year where it's a kind of a fire hose of news and updates coming at you. I think.
Do you like this whole CME thing? This way this is organized now.
It's kind of where I was going. After Sunday and all the movement and how much it meant to the players that were on the bubble to get into this event. I just wish that. This feels like very all of a sudden finale, boom, done. Especially because we just got back from Asia, right? And you have Annika this over. I feel like the end of the season needs to be elongated a little bit, and I of course my preference would be match play, whittle it down. Let's have some actual playoffs, some eliminations, some real drama. I don't listen. That's probably pie in the sky type of idea. But the thing is that after this, there's nothing for the majority of the players on the LPGA until the spring.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have the Grant Thornton. Okay. A few people are going to go play in that.
Yeah, no one's
hit and giggle. Then you're off for the holidays. You have the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champion. I don't even know. That one's as bad as the Annika, but that's going to be just past winners from the past 2 years. That's going to be roughly end of January. You go straight to Asia from that. And it's just such a long layoff for a professional golfer if you're not up there. And of course you can say play better, but I have kind of been enjoying the fall.
Of some sorts.
There is. I'm just saying I kind of have been enjoying the fall season a little bit on the PGA Tour, and kind of you you have some opportunities late in the season. I don't know. It's very complicated.
Maybe you do like a 3 or 4 event, like kind of CME finale series. And I hate trying to mimic what the tour does and whittling it down, but like somehow, but there usually isn't that much movement at the Annika thing. There's usually like one player bumps in.
Year. Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe that's like, maybe the light bulb went off in the marketing department's desk and saying, maybe we can find a way to package some sponsor around selling this whole thing as like maybe a 2 or 3 event series and making it something else. I mean, I don't mind the 60 players playing for one big purse. That's all fine with me.
They've all earned it. It's all, year-long
I can't think
rankings.
of a different format. It's better than the year. Maybe you have like a year-end bonus for the number one on CME Globe points that gets through Pelican or whatever, and give them like a little bonus for that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like the format as is. It's better than what was done before. I don't know. Match play's never going to happen, unfortunately.
I know. It'd be so fun though.
I think some kind of like, it's just the weird thing about the Annika deal is only 4 of the top 10 girls played.
I know.
Everyone's running around yelling this is the best tournament in women's golf outside of the majors, but yet only 4 of your top 10 girls played. It's like, so what are we doing here? So like, they're all skipping it for this big money event.
Yes. And it becomes, you move one thing, then you have to move 6 other things. Yeah. So a full reshake of the calendar to have a playoff series, whatever that looks like, takes major moving around of the calendar.
Yeah, but I think Craig's going to have to start sitting down soon and start trying to figure out. I think he's going to make it a priority. He can't do it next year, obviously. But the schedule's done and dusted when he pretty much showed up. But I think there should be maybe some room for Nagel, some of it.
I agree. The problem too, and we talked about this when we first started the podcast. The way it's set up now too, you don't feel like you have a lot of momentum going into Chevron because it's such a cut up start with one tournament stateside and then over to Asia and then a couple here before Chevron and it's boom, major season, and then the majors come real fast, real quick. So
I think they're going to come real fast next year.
They're going to be stacked up a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. More on that. More on that coming. So this. I don't mean to just like bring up a problem and not offer any sort of solution, but I don't think we're maximizing what the end of the season should feel like and be like. Right. That's kind of where
I think we saw something really cool Sunday afternoon, and we're like, we want more of it. How do we do that? That's basically what we're asking. I think we see an opportunity to maybe expound on a good thing the tour is doing. The 60-point spread, kind of being able to have a bubble and create some drama outside of the winter. Because if it wasn't just for that, like the Linn Grant thing hats off to Linn Grant. She played her tail off. Like it might have been a little bit of a snooze fest of a broadcast.
Yeah. That's Linn has the ability to do that, to just get way out in front. Yeah.
I'm sure Linn was very happy. So that's good for her.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, it's the finale is here. CME, get ready for some Terry Duffy interviews. We'll have our first like real deal Craig Kessler press conference since he got hired.
I think I might be going down for that.
You going to?
Yeah, I think I might.
Okay, nice. Got that first media bug and want some more, huh?
That free lunch was nice in the media center.
How was the bologna?
We had some pulled pork on Wednesday and some kind of pasta deal on Sunday.
No bologna in sight?
No bologna, no.
Okay, good to know. Glad to have that report.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're at. The season is almost at its end.
It's gone by very quickly. It snuck up on us. Or
I know.
Me at least.
Yeah, no, it always does. After, like I said, after Asia, it's just like boom, we're almost finished. Yeah. So we'll look for more boots on the ground reporting from Matthew next week. We will recap everything, talk about whoever has a very large number in their bank account after Sunday. And we'll put a bow on the 2025 season. So I'm sure there will be plenty more to talk about and discuss, from the calendar to the action out in Naples. But that about does it for a very busy week of the Tad Gap. And you think that's going to catch on? Acronym?
I'm just going to call it Buzz Week is all it was for me. The big old capital B buzz.
Buzz was the word. That was the word. The Blueberry Boys were buzzing for sure. Oh, what a week.
There's lots of them out there
on
the 18th green. They were surrounded by they had the lineup for their photo at the end.
They were swarming.
I lost count. I was trying to count them all, and I lost count. I got about 75. I was like, I give up.
Good. That's a lot. That's a lot. But I feel like last week was like, when we first started this, we said this is the mixed bag. It's going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. And last week had kind of all of that.
I think we had all of that in 1 week.
We did. We certainly did. So we'll see if we get all that and more this coming week, but we will be back to talk about it all. If you are a new listener, I apologize for the very casual introduction at the beginning of this, but please, if you like what you're hearing, rate us, review us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And a shout out, as always, to producer Will Balsam for putting our episodes together. Yeah. Okay. Good work on the ground, Matthew. First Media Center. Check that off the list.
Capital J journalism. Let's go.
I love it. Okay. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
See ya.